So Wes Welker gets fired. How do you look at that whole deal with Wes Welker? Because I am looking at it a little different than some other folks out there. And we have to trend very carefully on the Wes Welker firing. Do you know why? Ken Dorsey. So let me ask you, Sean, a question. Why are you convinced that Wes Welker is a good receivers coach? Where's the proof? Do you have any? What receiver did he develop over the few years that he's been a receivers coach, wherever he was, and now that he, did an amazing job? I'm wondering, who are they?
The only one you could probably point to would be Malik Washington this year, but he also had a good college career too. So I don't know if developing, but other than that, there's none.
No. And Washington made mistakes all throughout the year, didn't he? Right? Didn't somebody run a wrong route and it became an interception? Oh, I'm sorry, not Tyreek. I'm talking about the other guy with the dreads. You know, the guy that the writers thought, he was going to be the second coming of Albert Wilson, and he was the second coming of Albert Wilson. But they thought Albert Wilson was going to be amazing. And then they thought Robbie Chosen was going to be amazing. But Robbie Chosen ran the wrong route, and Grant Dubose couldn't hang on to footballs. And Tyreek runs the wrong routes and drops footballs, and Waddle drops footballs and makes mistakes constantly. I'm wondering, what makes Wes Welker such a great coach? Oh, I'm sorry. Miami. Oh, he's tied to Miami somehow. Oh, he was a tough receiver. So he must be a great coach. Even though you have no proof of it, he must be a great coach. Because Miami receivers are constant fuck-ups. Miami tight ends are constant fuck-ups too, by the way. Just want you to know. Jonnu Smith was a good player before Embry. So, I'm just wondering. Because, this is the whole Ken Dorsey thing. Because I remember, some of you out there, you wanted Ken Dorsey as your head coach for the Canes. You want him as the quarterback's coach for the Dolphins and the offensive court. I used to get that all the time. That doesn't happen anymore, huh? I wonder why. Damn, Josh Allen's a much better player without Ken Dorsey. Much better player without Ken Dorsey. Way better player without Ken Dorsey. So I'm just wondering, what's any proof out there that Wes Welker is a good coach? I'm just wondering. Well, what's the proof? That he was a tough guy? That he was a good receiver? Anything out there? I'm just wondering. So, why a change then? Was he a failure as a coach? Maybe. Maybe he was a failure as a coach because his receivers, they make mistakes all over the place. Maybe they weren't happy with it. Maybe he was buddy-buddy with Tyreek and Waddle. Maybe he didn't discipline them enough. Maybe he is a disciplined guy. Maybe he's kind of a dick and he didn't know how to get along with them. Or they know this is the final season if they don't fix this. They know this is definitely the final season for Tyreek. And so maybe, just maybe, Wes Welker might have been a little bit of a sacrificial lamb. Maybe he's not a very good receivers coach. So far, there is no proof that he's a good receivers coach. There is zero proof, by the way. Zero. That receiving corps makes mistakes up the ass. Okay? They drop footballs all over the place. So, I don't know, but all I'm telling you is there is zero proof of Wes Welker being a very good receivers coach. Okay, so now, maybe, just maybe, since Mike McDaniel can't be a dick, right? He can't really be a bad cop. He doesn't have it in him. And if he tries, it'll come out really fraudulent. So is this a way, since you have a problem at that position with Tyreek, lack of discipline, lack of maturity, lack of consistency, lack of professionalism, all those things. So could Wes Welker be fired because, one, he isn't really a great receivers coach? It's not like he's making this enormous difference. Let's be honest. Let's get honest. Zero proof that shows that he's a great coach. Zero. So could it be that they just wanted to shake it up and say, we can find another good coach, but we need to go find somebody that is willing to come in and be a complete dick? That way, Wes doesn't have to turn into a bigger dick. Maybe he is, but now he has to turn into a real dick because obviously he's certainly not reaching Tyreek. That's obvious. So maybe you now want to get somebody that comes in and he doesn't know these guys from Adam. And he's going to treat them all like, yo, guys, this is the way I coach. This is what you got to do. I don't know. But I kind of get that this was a message type of firing. I also think that the message was in multi-layered. One, not impressed with Welker's coaching. That is obvious. I don't need to side with them or anything. I can see from afar, I'm not impressed with Welker's coaching. I don't give a shit what Wes Welker was as a player, dude. I totally respect him as a player. I totally respect his toughness. I don't respect his receiving corps. Sorry, that falls on him. If I'm not going to be impressed with Embry, why the fuck should I be impressed with Wes Welker? So, since that's the case, because you really can't make a case for Wes Welker. Anybody? Anybody can make a case that Wes Welker is a great coach? You can't. There's no examples. Zero. Okay. Now, this is a way we can just shake it up and send a message. Shake it up on special teams. Shake it up at wide receiver. Send some messages. The special teams one was years coming. They're way late on this one. But finally, and then now you do it at wide receiver. I'm going to be very interested to see what happens. We used to have a wide receivers coach here that I loved. His name was Jerry Sullivan. Okay? Do me a favor, Sean. Find out where Jerry Sullivan is now. I want to say, I'm going to take a stab. I'm going to say like New Orleans or something. He was somewhere where his son is, I think. Anyway, he's like a consultant or a kind of an assistant wide receivers coach or something. I forgot where it is, where he is. He's somewhere. I forgot where. I just took a crazy guess. But that's the kind of coach they need. Jerry is a guy that can massage your back, but then at the same time, he's going to mother F you. If you're not doing shit right, if you're not running routes right, if you're not cutting right, if you're rounding on a route, whatever it is, Jerry was going to ride your ass. So you kind of need a Jerry Sullivan type is what you need. Yes, sir.
He is the senior offensive assistant and passing game coordinator for LSU.
LSU. That's why I thought New Orleans.
At 80 years old.
Yeah. He's too. You're not going to bring him here. But I love Jerry Sullivan. Big Jerry Sullivan fan. If I'm correct, look at the staff, and there's another Sullivan there. I believe his son is on that LSU staff. I believe. I'm not exactly sure. Or look at Jerry Sullivan and look for his Wikipedia, his son or whatever, and I think his son is on that LSU staff. I think that's how it goes or some shit like that. But the Dolphins need, at wide receiver, a Jerry Sullivan type to coach this group. That would be good. Or Robert Ford. Robert Ford was a trip. I used to love Robert Ford. See the point, grab the fat.
This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.